Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV, and you are getting a preview of the film that my nephew Antoine Marshall produced and directed. He is our guest tonight. As we are watching here, I want you to just see a little bit of it before we start our conversation.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, sweetheart. Are you just getting off work?
Oh, yes, we're so close to this deal. Like, I had to get this report out for this client.
Give so much to that job. I just hope they really appreciate you.
Right? Like, I am looking for that promotion. If I don't get that promotion, well, hey, it's time for me to move on.
I know that's right.
Oh my gosh. This thing is so irritating.
What? What's irritating?
I just personally purchased this Ring app, and for some odd reason, it's been giving me phantom notifications all evening. See, no.
This is a scary movie. This is my Antoine, my nephew Antoine Marshall. He's a filmmaker and the author of two books. Antoine, we're going to see some more of the movie in just a minute, but I want people to hear from you. Thank you very much for being here on our show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
With your cute self. So tell me, you have completed 3 short films, and you're now getting ready for a full-length film. Tell us about that film. Well, first of all, you're doing a GoFundMe because
Right.
these projects are not cheap.
No. Yes, we're doing a GoFundMe for a project I have written and copyrighted, 12 Gauge, which is about a young man who say things that comes back on him and it alters his appearance each time because what he says comes true, but it also takes something out of him. So the whole movie's about just, the things you say do come back to haunt you, or like a 12 gauge shotgun, like my pastor, old pastor, Bishop Butler used to say, your mouth is a 12 gauge shotgun. Wherever you direct it at, you can do harm. And you can even cause harm on yourself. So that's what this script is about. So we are looking to raise funding for the production team, well as the actors and location. This money does not come to me at all. This goes to my entire team and actors. So yes, if anybody feels led or feels in the spirit, whatever you give, whether it's $1 or $1,000, is up to you. But all donations will be greatly appreciated for my team.
And there, this whole industry of filmmaking for African Americans, um, you know, probably for me, the first name that I heard was Spike Lee. But then even before Spike Lee, it was a producer and director of Shaft with Richard Roundtree that we all watched. How difficult is it? Is it easier now because we have all of these mediums? You're now able to make a film and put it on social media and other mediums, and people are doing quite well doing it that way.
I think it's easier now because you do have so many platforms that you can market yourself without using a studio, big name studio. Um, I invested in over 6 years of equipment though. So that's still cost, but I have all my own equipment over the past 6 years. So it was easy for me to film these 3 short films because I used the resources that I had in my possession. The first film I used my own house. The third film I used my mom's house. The fourth film had to pay a little more, so I used different locations. So, and I was able to get actors who believed in what I was doing, but still paid them, but low budget, amount. And I was able to showcase a premiere April 2nd, which was really, really dope. I just invited like 50, 60 people, and all of them showed up. I even had people who donated who was not able to show up. So the turnout was really, really great. So now I've had to. I'm in a position of producing a feature length film, and all the films are written by me. of course. I actually wrote all these scripts back in December. I was just writing because I have these stories in my head. So I have about 3 or 4 stories right now sitting on my coffee table ready to be in production. So filming is not the hard part. It's just getting it's not even getting the actors, but you want to take care of people, right?
Mhm.
You don't want to lowball anybody. You don't want to, hey, just come work on my project for free and get some experience. You want to take care of people. And you want people to keep constantly come back and working with you. So I was able to do that on my own pocket for these 3 short films. But I can't do that with a feature length film, a 3 4 day shoot, all day shoot. I can't, put the money out of my own pocket. And I also am not going to take loans or owe anybody any money. So I'm doing a GoFundMe. I did almost come to a place to where, and this is something that when you get into things, you have to really do your research and take your time. You know, I got introduced to a person who was like, "Hey, I can get you $15,000 with no problem." And I can call a sponsor. The sponsor being interested. They call the sponsor. The sponsor sound interested, and you're like, "Well, there you go, right?" But he wanted ownership of half my movie.
Mhm.
Now I wrote the script. I'm the producer. I'm the director, and I have a whole team. So besides you making a phone call, why am I giving you ownership of my creation? So you have to be careful when people throw money at you. I know a lot of people would just jump on that, but I'm thinking long term. Like, this is my baby. You're not going to tell me how to operate or direct or where to put it. And that's what happens when you give up ownership just to try to do something really quick. So believing in faith, I put a casting call out, and my email's been burning up, which is great. A lot of people have been interested. I have over 25 people I counted as of today who was interested in being part of the film as actors. So I'm just looking to, as you see, my aunt Pam played a clip. So I'm not nobody who's blowing smoke. I really am producing, and we'll put the money to good use. So
Yeah. How is it that I mean, it's one thing to sit down and write and then develop it in 3D. So
I'm a
directing,
very
go
I'm
ahead.
a very, very good storyteller. I've
Mhm.
been like that my whole life. I have a very vivid imagination. And I am able to really just bring, like, I had these stories in my head for a very long time. So putting them out on paper was a no brainer, was easy, for me.
Well, so putting them on paper, but then bringing the narrative to the screen. That's also another thing.
Yeah, I have a it's I write based on how I wanted to see in real life. So
Ah,
I'm using areas or places, and then I'm writing a story. So if I was in your house, I would write a movie based on your house. So I I'm I'm one of those people who can really, if my imagination is really strong and I can will it into place. And like I said, I use the resources that's around me. So if I'm writing a movie, I'm okay. What do I want to use first? What building? What house? What location? How do I want the actors to act? How do I want the weather to be? Where do I want the street? I write those things down, and then that's how I formulate the whole entire story. So
so
the
you
first movie, I'm sorry, I have to cut you off.
the first movie, what? Go
So the
ahead.
first movie, I wrote it based on my own house.
Okay. And so you were majoring in biology in college.
hmm
And how does biology get to filmmaking?
I love science. I've always loved science. And then as I was going through college and working as a researcher part time, as well, I still had that desire of wanting to get into film. When I was in high school and even during college, I took theater classes, a lot of theater classes. So I still had that burning desire of wanting to get into film and television. I thought being an anchor was going to be me, but that didn't pan out how I wanted to. And not long story short, but to be honest with you, doing what I'm doing now is better than being an anchor and telling sad stories that I don't want to tell. So I want to tell stories that I do want to tell, have that control.
Um, so Antoine Marshall in Detroit. You know, we hear a lot of stories about places like Chicago and Detroit. You're electing to stay in Detroit as opposed to going to California or New York. Why is that?
Because LA and New York is very saturated. You know, we know that's the mecca of film, both those places, and it's very saturated. It's been doing it for so long. Detroit has a strong independent film industry that is growing as we speak, and with a lot of people having ownership of their own projects. Now, down the line, I do want to branch out actually soon to New York, to LA, once I've built up my own resume of films and have something to add to the table and not be forced to do something that I don't want to do just to try to fit in or be a part. So we have a strong independent film industry here that I'm finding out about each and every day. And I'm connecting with new people. Like I'm just getting started actually the top of January. I wrote all the scripts back in December, and I immediately started filming in January, and February, and March. So our independent film industry here is really really booming.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know that I've heard a lot about the film industry in Detroit.
Yeah, yeah. I know, right? You have to be in Detroit to hear it. A lot of stuff on Tubi, Amazon Prime. A lot of filmmakers put their work on there. So it's booming and it's growing and it's growing. I'm just finding this stuff out myself as I'm speaking. I've lived here my entire life, so
What about film festivals? Have you put any of your
no,
short
I
film?
haven't. Just getting started. I've only been doing this now for 3 months, so I haven't did any film festival or anything.
So you've only been doing these films for 3 months.
Hmm.
You've already done three,
Yep,
and now you're ready for to
the fourth
produce
one.
and direct the fourth one, but a full length.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
how long will that be?
I don't know. We have to start filming. I don't know how long the film is going to be, but we're looking to start the end of June, early July.
And where's the setting for that?
It's in a couple of places. Right now, we're working on trying to get the budget together and see what we can do before we get the settings for the films right now. So, based on the amount of money we have, we can figure out where we're going to start filming because it's going to be in a couple of locations.
So the information that you see on your screen, the GoFundMe, is for the full-length film that Antoine Marshall, my nephew, and his crew are working on in Detroit. Um, Talk to people about why it's important to invest in these kinds of things. You're a young African American man, a beautiful wife. Tell Chanel I said hello.
Will do.
And why is it important for people to invest in these kind of projects?
It's very important. It gives us a voice to tell our stories too, you know, and not have to go through or be whitewashed out by the main industry. You give empowerment to the independent film industry to tell more stories, to tell bigger stories, and backing and supporting our arts. Not just that, you also help create jobs for up and coming filmmakers, internships, paid internships, probably for students, high school students, and college students. So it's extremely important because there's a lot of great stories that people have, but the budget is just not there because it's hard to get without taking out a loan. And then if your film does not do well, you still owe that money back, you know? So it's important to support the arts. It's very important because there's so many great stories out here, whether it's horror or drama or spiritual, that needs to be told.
So, are you all of your stories scary movies? Because I'll be honest with you, I get scared very easily. Easily, I don't care if it is a movie.
Yes,
I
yes,
started
pretty much.
watching yours, and I had to turn the sound down so I could watch it.
Yeah, so a lot of my stories are 12 gauge is more of a thriller than it is scary. I do have another script I'm working on that is a fantasy heartfelt drama by the father and daughter in space. So everything is going to range between fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, or horror.
Fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, or horror.
Mhm.
So, why do you think you lean? Do you lean more to one than the other?
I lean towards all of those particular genres because I feel like it's one of my favorite genres is horror and fantasy. And I feel like it's not enough African Americans creating fantasy movies, horror or thrillers. It's not enough of us, and it's not enough of us being pushed into mainstream as well. I mean, you have those very few like Jordan Peele, who did Get Out, and he has another one coming up. Was it Up or something like that? Nope, that's the movie's Nope. So you have a very few, but for some odd reason, not enough. We're not tapping in. It's all about drama when it comes to African Americans, and we're more than just drama. We're more than just the husband and wife going through things with a boyfriend and girlfriend, or the little boy who having a hard time developing. It's more than that. We dream. We are astronauts. We're scientists. It's so much to us. And we can create worlds as well. So shout out to Michael Cooley for Black Panther. We can create more worlds like that. We have that capability to do that. So that's the only thing I think is just people have to learn how to get out their comfort zone. And you can learn a good lesson in fantasy. You can learn a good lesson in horror. It doesn't always have to be a drama. So
And there's a theme in all of it.
yes.
Yeah, a lesson theme in all of it. So as I'm looking at this shot right here, like who's shooting this? Are you shooting?
Yeah. And
You're
actually I have my homeboy, he's actually in the car filming that. Mhm.
and where did you learn about lighting and how's the audio set up in here for this shot?
So lighting, YouTube University. Just a lot of studying, and I'm also a videographer too. So I do weddings and stuff like that, and commercial shooting for small businesses. So I know a lot about lighting. The audio is, it's cool. It was my first project. It's not the best to me, but it's something that, at the moment we're really proud
Oh
of.
my God, Mom, seriously, you.
Well, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I want to get her home because in this, can
So
you
real
hear this?
quick,
Can you
I
hear
don't want
this?
to show too much. I want people to go on the
Okay,
YouTube
gotcha.
link and,
That's
and
right.
watch it.
Okay, well, we're not going to show too much. Um, yeah, go on YouTube and watch it. What is the link on YouTube for watching this?
The link on YouTube, I can send it. I don't know about heart. Just send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me so we can post it. So you
Mm.
can get lots of views from watching it. It is quite well done.
Thank you.
It is
Thank
it
you.
is it is well done. How many people do you have shooting with you?
It's just me and my homeboy James. It's just us two.
And who's editing?
I did.
You do the editing.
Hmm. Yep.
And how do you go about selecting the music for this?
So what I did was I went on YouTube, copyright free
Mhm.
music, and I just converted over to an MP3 and used anything. So the music was copyright free, and I used that to put in the music and everything. But this next film, I'm actually going to have a musician create music for us, so we won't run into any problems. We want to post this film on, try to like shop it to like Netflix or Amazon or anything like that.
When you are in the process of developing and writing, because you've also written two books,
Mhm. Well,
and
one, I
I'm
haven't finished the other one yet.
okay. So you've published one. You're a published author, and
Mhm.
you talked about even when you wrote the book, how you just sat down and you started writing,
Mhm.
and it just started coming. That's just how your brain works, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a, teacher by day, so
Uh-huh.
when I have my students working, I'm also have my laptop up. I'm just flowing through it.
What do you teach?
I teach fourth and fifth grade.
Really?
Yes.
I bet they love Mr. Marshall, huh?
Sometime.
Are you a tough teacher?
Sometime.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. They
Mhm.
need that kind of discipline and to
They do.
see a African American man role model doing positive things and standing strong and firm. And I
Yeah.
know,
They
I
do.
know, I know. If you got any of your granddaddy in you, do you ever hear him come out when you're talking to children? Like, man, that sounds like him.
No, no, because I never heard him do any of that. So
No
you
discipline in you.
yeah, so no, you would have to probably come and see me talk, and then you could point out and tell me, yeah, that's Granddad Lizzie right there, and that's your brother. So yeah, you have to let me know.
Yeah, this is my oldest brother's grandson, Antoine Marshall,
Yes.
who is an author and a filmmaker in Detroit. He is working on his new full length film. He has started a GoFundMe account. You guys are trying to raise $10,000 for this project. So, you'll take it in any denominations
Yeah.
or the whole 10,000, huh?
Or the whole 10,000. Yeah.
When you talk about this industry and where things are today with respect to how you are now able to create without having to be in Hollywood,
Mhm.
without
Yeah.
having to be in New York, what is the scene like in Detroit?
The scene is really growing. Actually, it's so much stuff is happening that you can really is if you are a creator, it's not hard to find your passion just walking down the street, to be honest with you. Um like I said, once I started and when I put the premiere on, the support of people that came out, I was overwhelmed. I was thinking it was gonna be like 20, 15, 20 people. And people bought tickets, people showed up and paid at the door. And it was just a really amazing feeling. And it's funny because as I'm watching them watching my movie, kind of hide in my face because sometimes, it's like even though I watched it so many times, seeing other people watch your stuff, and while you're sitting there, it's like, and then you notice certain things that you could have did better. But I'm very proud of what we created. So to go back to your question, what's the scene is like? There's a lot of I find there's a lot of movie producers here.
Huh.
There's a lot. I didn't know that it was this big until I got started to decide that I wanted to get involved. Because originally wanted to do this back in 2019. The things did not work out with the person that I was trying to do it with. So that allowed me to go back and own all my own stuff and write everything, have ownership of everything. So, but yeah, the independent scene is really strong. Mhm.
So, Antoine,
Mhm.
What is the significance of you doing this and sharing your story? A young African American man, married, teacher, filmmaker, author. We don't see, that's not the headline that we see about African American young men in America. How significant is it for you to be able to help retell that narrative about Black men?
It's very significant. We have to get control of the media and put these stories out because I know a ton of young Black and older men who are doing amazing things. It's just here in the city of Detroit. So, which is why I don't watch the news much because it's like I know what I know. I don't need you to tell me how my city is being run or what is going on. Do we have a few bad apples in our community? Of course, but that's in every community. So it's very important to tap into media as an African American man or women, to tell our stories. And not just to tell our stories personally, but just to tell stories,
Yeah.
whether it's fictional or not, and to show that we're here and we're doing it. And I mean, and we have the capability of supporting and building up our own communities and our own artists. We're 13 or 14% of the population, but we spend the most money in America. So imagine if all that money circle around back into our own communities,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Imagine building up you instead of running from your old neighborhood, imagine building that neighborhood back up.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
You know, instead of having police officers who do not live in your neighborhood, imagine if everybody in a positive way discipline the community together at the kids and like, hey, that's how I grew up. I grew up in a beautiful, predominantly black neighborhood on the east side of Detroit. And you couldn't do anything without 6 or 7 neighbors peeking out, seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
All those kids who I grew up with are doing very, very well, whether they live here or moved out of state. So I know how well African Americans together can build something solid and strong and have great leadership and treating everybody well, protecting our women, protecting our kids, protecting the men. I've seen that. And through art and through media, we can get those stories out.
So what needs to happen with us? It is, I don't know how to do what you do, but I do know how to do this. And so that's my desire, is to help lift and tell stories and share information about what my relatives are doing and other people of color. What needs to happen with us as a people so that we understand that we have to seek out the Antoine Marshalls of our communities?
Well, first and foremost, the first thing is what you're doing now. You are interviewing and you have interviewed so many other people. So that's the first thing you're putting out the story. The second thing is we have to realize that we're not in competition with each other. I think that's the problem. We're not in competition with each other. It's not a let me get a one leg over you. I don't have to know you to support you.
Right.
That's also a problem that we have too. So we have to get out this mindset of this clique mentality or this high school mentality. You see somebody doing well, support because it
Right.
comes back to you full force. Press down, shake it together, run it over. That's in the Bible. So support and give. Support your community. I don't have to be dressed like you or talk like you, but if I've given money to young kids on the street walking past me selling candy. I don't want your candy just here. I don't even know you. Kid can look raggedy as ever, but here, because I believe they're going to do something great. And if not, that's not my problem. But I'd rather for them to be hustling, selling candy on the street than anything else.
Right.
So that's another thing. And we have to stop talking about the things we're doing on social media, but yet you're not really doing them behind closed doors. So we have to be truthful with ourselves, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But so supporting everybody, and not just the people who we think is cool or feel is cool, or you see somebody really like. I'm very consistent. If it's one thing about me, I'm very consistent in what I do. Once I have a thought and put it out there, I cannot. It's like a contract with myself that I cannot break.
Well, I will commit to touching bases with all of my brothers and sisters and asking for an amount for us to send to you, and then ask
Thank you.
their children, even if all of my brothers and sisters got all of their children to send $10 or
Yeah,
$20. It's a whole bunch of us.
right.
So I am so extremely proud of you. I
Thank
cannot
you.
stress how proud I am of you for what you're doing, for the gifts that are flowing through you that I know are paying off, not going to pay off, but they're paying off right now because there are
Thank you.
people watching you and kids watching you. And I'm watching you and I'm enjoying it.
Oh, I really appreciate what you just said, because there's sometimes you want to be known by your body of work. And sometimes you feel like, man, I'm really trying to put great things out for people to consume and also want to do. And do people even really care, sometimes? But you got to shake off that spirit and keep pushing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I want you to know that the greatest reward is to get the well done from the one who gave you the assignment. So,
Right.
as the scripture says, you have to preach in season and out of season. We're
Mm,
to operate in our gifts, whether anybody else is watching or not, because in the end, you don't want your works to go undone. And
right.
I applaud you, filmmaker, author Antoine Marshall in Detroit, Michigan, who is working on a full length film, writer, producer, director, my nephew. Man, you got it going on. Thank you.
Thank you. This was great. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I enjoyed you as well. So tell my niece I said hello, your
Will
wife,
do.
and my niece, your sister, and your mother. Tell them I said hello.
Will do. Thank you so much.
And let me encourage all of you who are watching. First of all, I really appreciate your watching. I don't take it lightly that you take a moment and stop because there's so much on social media that you can watch. So I don't take it lightly that you take a pause and watch the programming that we do on At the Wellness Network. I too sometimes feel like it's only two people watching, it's only four people watching. Why do I keep doing this? Well,
Mhm.
I keep doing it because it's my assignment, and the souls that we touch are the souls that we touch. And so I'm going to ask you if you would, just as a means of encouraging Antoine, if you would make a donation to his full length film. And then as it comes out, we can all sit and feel a
Yeah.
sense of ownership that
Mhm.
we help to make something positive happen. So if you would do that for me as we continue to lift each other up, um, I'm excited about doing interviews with people in my own family who are doing great things. And you may have somebody in your family who's doing something. Let me know. I'd love to interview them as well because who better to tell our stories than us? So,
I want to
Antoine,
say something
go
real
ahead.
quick.
Go ahead.
Everyone who donates will also be added to the film in the credits.
Oh,
So just want to let that be known. So
excellent,
mhm.
excellent. And if you want your name bigger, bigger donation, huh?
Right, right. Very true.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next time. In the meantime, take care of yourself. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. Make it a fantastic moment. We'll see you.